Joe Biden had to answer more questions than anyone else at last night's Democratic presidential debate. His opponents strongly criticized the Democrats' frontrunner for his current policies and his record. Biden defended his views on issues from immigration to women's rights.
If you cross the border illegally, you should be able to be sent back. It's a crime.
It looks like one of us has learned the lessons of the past and one of us hasn't. What we need are politicians that actually have some guts on this issue.
Mr. Vice President has said that since the 1970s, every major crime bill, major and minor, has had his name on it. This is one of those instances where the House was set on fire, and you claimed responsibility for those laws.
There was nothing done for the entire 8 years he was mayor. There was nothing done to deal with the police department that was corrupt.
He wrote an op-ed was that he believed that women working outside the home would, quote, create the deterioration of family. He also said that women who were working outside the home were, quote, avoiding responsibility.
You came to Syracuse University with me and said it was wonderful. I'm passionate about the concern, making sure women are treated equally. I don't know what's happened except that you're now running for president.
Biden also went on the attack, slamming Medicare for all plans like the ones being pushed by Senators Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, and Bernie Sanders.
It will be a deductible in her paycheck. Bernie acknowledges it. Bernie acknowledges it. $30 trillion has to ultimately be paid. And I don't know what math you do in New York. I don't know what math you do in California, but I tell you, that's a lot of money. And there will be a deductible. The deductible will be out of your paycheck because that's what it requires.
All right, so let's hear what Senator Bernie Sanders says about all that. He joins us from his home city of Burlington, Vermont, talking about this week's debates first on CTM. Senator, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I know as we played that clip from Joe Biden at last night's debate, you were shaking your head already. He says there's going to be a big deductible from people's paychecks under this single-payer system. He's basically saying it's going to be a big tax. You don't deny that, do you?
Look, this is what I believe, and this is what the case is. We are now spending twice as much per capita on health care as do the people of any other country. Just a few days ago, as you may know, I took a trip to Canada with a number of people who were dealing with diabetes. We bought insulin in Canada for 1/10 of the price, 1/10 of the price that we're paying in the United States. The drug companies are charging us the highest prices in the world, but last year they made $69 billion in profit. The function of healthcare must not be, as is the case right now, for the drug companies and the insurance companies to make huge profits, while 87 million Americans can't afford the health care that they have. They can't go to the doctor when they want. 30,000 people each year die. 500,000 Americans go bankrupt because of the medical bills that they can't afford to pay. This is an irrational system. We've got to do what the Canadians and the people of every other country do. Health care is a human right. We can cut the cost that people pay for health care substantially by eliminating the profiteering, the complexity, and the bureaucracy of the current system.
But, Senator, a CBS News poll found that nearly 2/3 of Democrats think that a national health care plan will work better if it competes with private insurance. Doesn't that suggest that you're trying to sell something here that Democratic voters may not want?
Well, let me, in all due respect, push back on you here. There's just a poll that came out the other day. Polls are polls. When you tell people the following, under a Medicare for all, you will have freedom of choice with regard to the doctor or the hospital that you go to. And let's also understand that under our bill, we expand Medicare benefits for the elderly to include dental care, eyeglasses, and hearing aids, which are not now currently covered. Let's also be very clear that every single year, some 50 million Americans change their health insurance policies.
Senator,
you leave your job. Yes.
Senator,
go ahead.
You're right. Polls are polls. But, you know, many people are frustrated with their private health insurance. You're absolutely right about that. But can you convince a number of Americans to support a federal system that will actually be better than the private market? That poll that we cited seems to suggest that people think competition would be good.
No, competition is terrible in healthcare. The function of a drug, the function of an insurance company is to deny you the claims that you thought you had.
Let's flip.
What the function? But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
I, didn't
I just want to kind of flip it around a little bit here. 2.7 million people are working in the insurance industry. What should those people fear? Should they fear for their own job security?
Well, the answer is we have a just transition built in. The function of a healthcare system should not be somebody sitting behind a desk telling you that you are not going to get the benefits that you thought you had, that you're going to be denied. That's a waste of money. Function of a healthcare system should not be giving hundreds of millions of dollars in bonuses to an executive who brings about a merger, or huge compensation packages for the CEOs of the pharmaceutical industry. So we're talking about a just transition. Let's be clear. If you go to Canada right now and you have heart surgery and you're in the hospital for a month, you leave that hospital without a nickel expense because they understand that health care is a right.
Senator.
So yes, go ahead.
Senator, I wanted to say, just you appeared in the debate the other night, you appeared to have a kind of a non-aggression pact with Elizabeth Warren. Do you two have a deal not to attack each other, at least at this stage?
Look, Elizabeth and I have been friends for over 20 years. She's running her campaign, and I'm running my campaign. They're different campaigns.
What are you
doing?
But
I think the most effective way to campaign, to be honest with you, is to talk to the American people about why the middle class is disappearing, why we have massive income and wealth inequality, the nature, the great challenge we face in terms of climate change, the thievery that's now going on within the pharmaceutical industry, where there is not only price fixing, but there is just incredible greed. You talk about those issues, you do well. You try to beat up on somebody else. Frankly, I don't think it's good politics.
But, Senator, at some point, you and Elizabeth Warren, as most pundits seem to indicate, will make that next debate. How will you differentiate yourself from her? You're two progressives.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll let you guys and the punditry and the American people make that decision.
What?
All I can say,
what is the single principle difference? What is the biggest difference between you and Senator Sanders? It's not up to us. You've got to draw the distinction, Senator.
No.
No?
I have to tell the American people what I believe. And I'm going to take on the greed of Wall Street, the drug companies, the insurance companies. We are going to tell the fossil fuel industry that they cannot continue to destroy this planet for their short-term profits. Right now, the American people understand there is something wrong when many people are working longer hours for lower wages. 49% of all new income goes to the top 1%. That's my message to the American people. We got to take on corporate greed. We got to create an economy that works for all of us, not just the 1%. That's my message. That's what I campaign on.
All right, Senator Sanders, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
My pleasure. Thank you.